Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. There are calls for mandatory safety training for anyone operating an ATV after an increase in hospitalizations in recent years. The I-Team's Caroline Bargut reports.
Every year, thousands of Manitobans get out their all-terrain vehicles or ATVs and hit the trails. But not everyone is riding without incident. Between 2013 and 2022, more than 1,700 people have ended up injured or in hospital in this province, while 69 have been killed, some of them children. In 2020, Don Eidse hit a tree root and rolled his ATV. He ended up with a brain bleed but survived.
Even under ideal circumstances where you're taking all the precautions, you're following the routes, you're doing everything accordingly, it's still off-road riding. You're still, there are still things that can happen under the best of circumstances.
He credits his survival on taking a safety course and believes it should be mandatory in Manitoba. Armand Poirier is the mayor of the Orem of Taché and says a lot of times young people ride ATVs without a helmet, which is putting their lives on the line.
You wouldn't allow your children to smoke a cigarette. Why would you allow them to operate a vehicle with that kind of horsepower without the maturity and the proper vestments needed to protect yourself?
It's mandatory to take an ATV safety course in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador. PEI, BC, Saskatchewan, Quebec and New Brunswick have mandatory driver safety training for certain age groups. Manitoba, Ontario, Alberta, Yukon, Northwest Territories and Nunavut don't have any requirements for training. Parachute Canada is a national group dedicated to preventing serious and fatal injuries. It wants to see all provinces and territories create legislation around ATV safety.
Our recommendation for legislation is that this training be mandated, that it's similar to operating another motor vehicle where you're required to get training and have a license. In this case, just having that training is really important for safe operation of the vehicle.
Don Eidse was fully trained and still nearly died in an ATV crash. He says that should be a wake-up call for parents and other people who aren't as familiar with riding. Caroline Bargut, CBC News, Winnipeg.